Good morning. I'm the second negative speaker. First and foremost, let me point out that the affirmative's argument is inconsistent. In the 1AC, they talk about California's debt and the legalization will solve that debt. And in the second AC, he speaks about the health benefits and the non-negative addiction effects of marijuana. So there's two inconsistencies with their argument that they're presenting today. Based off the first affirmative's opening statement, the affirmative presents the plan to legalize the recreational use of and the retail sales of marijuana. We, the negative, believe that the disadvantages of the affirmative's plan far outweigh the advantages expected or that they say that we will gain. This is a standard case of a linear disadvantage. Currently, the recreational use and retail sales of marijuana is illegal, but social and economic costs are great with that. Marijuana is addictive, and this is why from American Society of Addiction, or my first disadvantage is point A, marijuana is addictive, and this is why. American Society of Addiction Medicine white paper and state level proposals to legalize marijuana adopted by the SAM Board of Directors, July 25, 2012. SAM views on marijuana are well established and are based on science that cannabinoids are potent psychoactive drugs which are associated with addiction. Cannabinoids act on specific receptors in the brain, and reinforcement derives from stimulation of those receptors. Reward circuitry in the brain experiences increased activity involving the neurotransmitters dopamine in response to human exposure to a variety of drugs associated with addiction, including nicotine, opioids, stimulants, and cannabinoids. The psychoactive effects of increased activity by cannabinoids receptors agonists are not all pleasant or salutary. The use of marijuana is associated with increased activation of reward circuitry and related circuitry due to the reality that marijuana contains these psychoactive cannabinoid compounds. In fact, the use of marijuana would not be pleasurable to some persons, and repeated use would not be reinforcing were it not for the reward stimulating cannabinoids in marijuana plants. So the release of dopamines while you smoke from the THC gives you that high feeling, which is highly addictive to the brain. That is what this evidence is saying, based on scientific fact. My subpoint, or my disadvantage point B, in 2011, there were 18.1 million users of marijuana, and out of those, 4.2 million were addicted. Result from the 2011 National Survey on Drug Use and Health Summary of National Findings, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. In 2011, marijuana was the most commonly used illicit drug with 18.1 million users. It was used by 80.5% of current illicit drug users. About 2/3, 64.3% of illicit drug users use only marijuana in the past month. And continuing on with that statistics, I'll go ahead and read off the addiction number. The number and percentage of persons age 12 or older who are currently users of marijuana in 2011, which is 18.1 million or 7%, were similar estimates for 2010, 17.4 million or 6.9%. The 2011 rate of current marijuana use also was similar to that rate in 2009. Let me go ahead and move down. Marijuana was the illicit drug with the highest rate of past year dependence or abuse in 2011, followed by the pain relievers and cocaine. Of the 6.5 million persons aged 12 or older classified with illicit drug dependence or abuse, in 2011, 4.2 had marijuana dependence or abuse. That is stating that out of all of the drug use or illicit record of drug use, 4.2 million were addicted to solely marijuana. Moving on to my point C, long-term use and addiction of marijuana leads to many health problems in the future for users. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Research increasingly confirms that marijuana use is harmful. Acute symptoms of marijuana intoxication include impaired short-term memory, attention, judgment, and cognitive functions, as well as increased heart rate, symptoms that can persist for weeks after the immediate effects of marijuana have worn off, including insomnia, and possibly impaired memory and learning. When continued over years, a pattern of heavy, daily, or almost daily use can increase some health risks. Moving on to my point D, legal drugs such as alcohol and tobacco, which have high addiction rates, are prime examples that drug use and addiction is a national public health threat because they yield high social economic costs. And this comes from the President of the United States in his National Drug Control Strategy, posted in 2011. Our current legal drugs, alcohol and tobacco, are examples of commercialized products with addiction potential and high usage rates fueled by easy availability. Although these products are taxed, neither produces a net economic benefit to society. I now stand open for cross-examination.
You say in 2011, 8.1 million marijuana users and 4 million were addicted?
No, I said 18.1 million users.
And 4.2 million were addicted?
That is correct.
What is your definition of addicted?
Addicted is not defined by me, it was defined by the doctors that made these studies and the statistics that they presented towards the National Survey of Drug Use and Health Summary.
So we don't know if that's some person using it every day or 3 times a week or maybe once a month?
Well, they define addiction as people that are in treatment for addiction, so that's where they got this.
And where does it say where they were in treatment?
Well,
to get this study?
In the packet I gave you, it's under the national surveys. If you want to read it, you can go ahead and take a look.
And you say long-term may impair short-term memory. Might impair your short-term memory?
Subpoint, or my C point was that long-term use and addiction of marijuana leads to many health problems, and that is correct. One of the acute symptoms of marijuana intoxication include impaired short-term memory, attention, judgment, and cognitive functions. And then after it wears off, they found that marijuana users go through insomnia and possibly impaired memory and learning. That's weeks after.
So that can be some marijuana users, but not all?
That is correct.
So there can be a lot of successful people that don't have any short-term memory
loss? I am not allowed, at this point, I'm not allowed to say.